We are now recording.
All right. So good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. I'm Jenny McCullum, the Chief Procurement Officer for JEA and the Chair of the Awards Committee. I'd like to call the August 7th, 2020 awards meeting to order. Excuse me. We do have a quorum with Alan McElroy, Joe Arfano, Stephen Datz, Steve Tooten, and Wayne Young. OGC is represented by David Miggett, and Budget is represented by Lori Whitmer. So in an effort to slow the spread of COVID-19 and to encourage social distancing, Governor DeSantis issued Executive Order 20-69, allowing local governments to hold public meetings using communications media technology rather than in a physical location. So in keeping with the executive order, the JEA Awards Committee meeting is being held via WebEx teleconference, which allows interested persons to view and participate in the meeting remotely. Individuals who have technical difficulties accessing the meeting or during the meeting should contact Lynn Ricks, and her phone number is 665-8621. In the event that multiple people have technical difficulties that preclude them from attending or accessing the meeting will be recessed or postponed until the technical issues can be remedied. This meeting is being recorded and the minutes are being taken. Therefore, any individuals who speak during the meeting should do so clearly and slowly to ensure they are heard and understood for recording purposes by the other participants and attendees. Participants shall keep their microphones on mute at all times when not speaking, and the meeting host will have the capability to mute any of the microphones that are transmitting sound, that cause feedback, or that are otherwise disruptive to the meeting. Each person must wait to be recognized by the meeting host before speaking, and if people attempt to speak out of turn or talk over each other, they will be removed from the meeting. Each time an individual speaks during the meeting, they must first provide their name to ensure that those dialing in can identify all of the speakers, and members of the public must state their name each time they make a comment. So all of the awards committee meetings, the public comment portion occurs at the beginning of the meeting, and all public comments should pertain only to the items on the agenda and are limited to 3 minutes in duration. And the agenda and associated materials can be accessed through the JEA website under Procurement, Awards, Meetings, Agendas, and Minutes. Members of the public may submit their comments by email in advance of the meeting or may log in and dial into the meeting to speak during the public comment portion. Individuals who are unable to access the meeting or who wish to submit their comments in advance may do so by submitting their comments via email to Lynn Ricks, and her email address is rixlw@jea.com. Public comments submitted by email must be received no later than 10:10 a.m. on the date of the meeting. Public comments submitted by email will be read into the record during the public comment portion of the meeting, and individuals attending the call will be given an opportunity to comment one at a time and in an orderly fashion upon recognition by the meeting host. All public comments will be given equal consideration regardless of the manner in which they were submitted. And when the meeting is concluded, we will have the recorded version on the location of the website that I stated earlier. I'm going to pass it over to Landon to walk us through the WebEx features and the public comment portion of the meeting.
Thank you. This is Landon Todd, and for those that are new to the WebEx technology, let me give you a brief overview of the controls. If you're joining us via the desktop interface or a smart device, such as a smartphone or tablet, you may move around your screen and will see a series of buttons at the bottom. The very first one that you may notice looks like a red microphone with a slash through it. If it is red, it means you are muted and will be on mute for the majority of the meeting, unless recognized to speak. If you are recognized to speak and you are asked to provide comment, you will click on that button and it will turn dark gray or black. This will mean that you are unmuted and people can hear you. I do ask that you use the mute option to mute your line when you are not speaking. This will allow us to reduce the amount of background noise and have the most productive meeting possible. Also, if you'd like to see who is participating in today's meeting, you can look over 3 more buttons to the right and find an icon that looks like a person. If you click on that, it will bring up the participant list. If you're on a mobile device, it will pull up in front of everything. And if you joined on your desktop machine, it will come up on the right side of your screen. This will allow you to see a long list of individuals who have joined the meeting. Also, I have enabled the chat capability. If you touch your screen or scroll next to the person icon, you will notice an icon that looks like a caption bubble. If you click on that, it will bring up the chat window. Please remember that this meeting is being recorded, and I ask that you please be professional. But if you run into any difficulties, you can chat me directly, or if you like to type comments, you can type comments to everyone for public comments. Now, during today's meeting, when presentations are shared, you may desire to zoom in to more easily read the content. Within the WebEx toolbar located on the left side, you will notice 3 key options. The first is the icon with a plus positive indicator. This will allow you to easily zoom in on the content of your display. The second icon with the minus negative indicator will allow you to reverse and zoom out of the content. And lastly is the icon with 4 arrows expanding, which will allow you to maximize your presentation on your screen in the WebEx window. Now, due to circumstances resulting from COVID-19, a historic number of employees are rapidly transitioning to remote work. WebEx meetings has never been more vital for staying connected. For some users, meeting experiences may be impacted due to strain on your service provider, causing internet or phone service degradation. Now, here are some tips you can take to get the best meeting experience in any situation. Number 1, close your background applications. Even if you're not using them, applications on your device are using precious resources. Before your meeting or during this meeting, close any application and browser sessions that you're not using. Number 2, switch to call-in audio. If your internet audio or your video experience or call me back feature does not work, you can keep collaborating. Call in using the dial-in numbers in today's meeting's invitation to join via your cell phone or a landline. Number 3, hardwire your workstation. Depending on your location and how many people are using the same Wi-Fi around you, you may see slower speeds on Wi-Fi than a hardwired connection to your computer. And lastly, number 4, contact the JEA WebEx support team. If you're having difficulty, our team is here to help you and may be reached at webexsupport@jea.com. Now, those are the major controls of WebEx, and now I'm going to talk about public comments. For the public comments, we will be using the raised hand feature. If you're using the WebEx client, this feature is located within the participant window. At the top of the list, your name will be visible. To the right, you will notice a gray icon that looks like a hand. If you click it, it will turn blue, letting me know that you like to be recognized for comment. Now, we're going to talk about alternative methods. For those that may have called in directly, there are 2 additional ways you can notify me that you like to provide comments. The first is by pressing *3 on your phone. This will raise your hand and allow you then to press *6 to unmute your line. If you unmute your line, please state your first and last name so that everyone may hear who is speaking before you proceed with comments. As we go through this meeting, as we stated, I am the moderator and have the capability to mute everyone's line. I will only do so to ensure that this meeting runs smoothly. Now, it is 11:10, and we will now proceed with public comment section of this meeting. Now, Lynn, have we received any public comments by email that need to be read into the record?
This is Lynn Ricks. We have not received any public comments.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to roll into the preferred method. For those that have joined the WebEx client, please use the raised hand feature that I just mentioned if you'd like to be recognized for public comment. Okay, for those that have dialed in, which we do have 2 individuals that have dialed in today, if you would like to raise your hand, you may now press *3 to raise your hand. Also, if you are unable to do the primary or the alternative method, we have the third option is to go ahead and use the chat window. If you'd like to provide public comments via chat, please do so now. Jenny, I do not see any raised hands or public comments received in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Landon. So on today's regular agenda, we have items 1 through 3 and 5 through 8. Award number 4 was deferred, and they have all been reviewed by procurement and by budget and are ready for the awards committee review. What we will do is go through each one individually. We'll go through the details, ask if there's any comments or questions from the committee, and then I will ask the committee to provide a motion to approve that individual award with a second, and then do a roll call through the committee for a vote on that individual item. So we will start with the first item, which is our meeting minutes from the July 30th meeting, and I will open it up to the committee for any questions or comments.
Jenny, this is Alan McElroy. I make a motion to approve.
Thanks, Alan. Can I get a second?
Stephen Datz.
All right, I heard Stephen more clearly. So Alan with the motion to approve and Stephen with the second. I will ask the entire committee for a vote on award item number 1. And we'll start with Alan McElroy.
Approved.
Stephen Datz.
Approved.
Joe Orfano.
Approved.
Steve Tootin.
Approved.
And Wayne Young.
Approved.
All right, thank you. We can move on to award number 2. This is a renewal for our facilities landscaping maintenance. This is our open market. That means we bid this out and we did not shelter, but we created quite a large JSEB percentage, which was a 40% goal. And we are happy to say that Freedom Landscaping is a JSEB. So this is 100% JSEB certified vendor. What we did when we bid this out originally, we bid it out for a 3-year term, but this was a new vendor to JEA. And so we discussed with the vendor doing just a 1-year and then moving the optional. Well, we had bid it out with a 3-year term with a 1-2-year optional renewal. And so the way we set this up was to only do it for a year to make sure they were capable to perform and keep up with our service levels that we required, and bring it back to the committee to do the other 2 optional, renewals that we were able to do from the original bid. So they have performed very well, and I will say that this was quite a reduction from the old landscaping contract that we had. So we are saving quite a bit of money using this JSEB vendor. The award amount for the renewal for the 2-year term is $2,962,709.60. The only thing that we've done a little bit differently is that we've increased the service frequency at Kennedy Generating Station during the summer months. So an additional 3 mowing events and 2 clearing events at KGS will result in an increase of about $6,200 for the 2-year period. So minimal, but also we have the rates for each of the locations that we can use. We're just increasing the amount that we mow there. So the rates will remain the same as when they were originally submitted without increases. And I will open it up to the committee to see if you guys have any questions. All right, seeing none, I will ask for a motion to approve award number 2.
Steve Tootin, motion to approve.
Thanks, Steve.
Sure.
Can I get a second?
Joe Orfano, second.
Thanks, Joe. I'll do a roll call through the entire committee to approve award number 2. Steve Tootin,
Approved.
Joe Arfano,
Approved.
Alan McElroy,
Approved.
Stephen Datz,
Approved.
and Wayne Young.
Approve.
Thank you. Award number 3 is a contract amendment. This is for our cellular wireless services with Verizon. So we're asking the committee for 2 things here. We piggyback off of the state contract for our services with Verizon. They had performed a competitive solicitation, which included suppliers or vendors such as Sprint and AT&T and Verizon, with Verizon receiving, the highest technical and pricing scores out of the 3 carriers. So they did this bid back in 2012, and to maximize the state of Florida's, size and to maximize their pricing, piggybacking off of this contract has been deemed better than if JEA had bid this out ourselves. And we did compare just pricing to one of the other vendors, and it is about let's see, I have it on here somewhere. I think it was we compared it to the AT&T's. They have a state contract, so we looked at different contracts with the state. So it is 4% less to use Verizon than AT&T when we looked at the different pricing. So AT&T must have a separate contract also through a competitive bid, but Verizon is the one that is the most competitive for us. It is also, I'll just note, a standard that the IT group has made just based off of different factors. So we've also got a contract in place with them for customer service support, network ownership, and maintenance to ensure ongoing reliability and accountability to JEA, with service level agreements in the contract that provide service level guarantees. So we've got our own contract outside of the state, but we're with our terms and conditions and service level agreements, but are able to utilize their pricing. So just as another note, they've got the best coverage from a coverage map perspective to fit our needs as well. And when the state did this out, they did it for a 5-year term, which would have taken us through about the 2017 timeframe. And then they extended the contract for another 5 years. And so their contract doesn't expire until January of 2022. And so what we are asking the committee to do is we came to the committee in the past to increase, back in 2017, we increased for a 3-year term. And we didn't match the state's 5-year term because we like to look at what we're using and spending as this environment and changes for us. And so we only did a 3-year term to get us through, which will take us through the end of this month. And so the first piece of this is to request an increase of about $192,000 just to cover the monthly access plan usage and just some scope that we had to increase over those last 3 years just due to our needs. And so we're asking to just increase that amount to get us through the current term. And then in addition, we are asking for to piggyback off the contract through the end of the contract term with the state, which is about 17 additional months. And so that is going to be a total of, for the 17 months, about $2.1 million. So that brings us to our award total, when you add those two together, of $2,328,508.91. So I think I have touched on all of the points with this one. This one's a little a little different just because we didn't, when we came to the committee back in 17, we didn't extend it the whole 5 years that the state had. So now we've got an opportunity to still use their contract and would like to do so. So I'll open it up to the committee for questions and comments.
Jenny, this is Wayne. Does the 17-month period include coverage for the additional access plan usage, new scope items, et cetera, that we've increased this one for?
It does.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of our increases, you know, are just due to the working remotely, so more tablets, more smartphones, and what was not included before on the 3-year term and is included in the pricing here is for our JEA fleet GPS mobile Wi-Fi hotspots that we added to all of our fleet vehicles. And so that was a new project that we put in place that was implemented last year and added to the plan for the 17 months going forward.
Hi, Jenny, this is Kimberly Trailer for Technology Services through the CARE. Just a couple of additional pieces of information. As we move to the Cradle Point routers in the vehicle, we are going to look to reduce cost in the areas of air cards and cellular service for tablets. So there will be some cost savings opportunities there. And then we also review usage on all of our devices every 60 days. So if there is low or no usage on a device, we reach out to the end user or manager to determine if those devices are needed. So these counts fluctuate literally probably on a weekly basis. So we continue to manage the numbers, and my expectation is that some of these numbers that we have estimated based on current counts today, we will be able to reduce over time.
Great. Thank you for the additional information. Are there any other questions from the committee?
Jenny, this is
David. Go ahead.
Steve Tootin, were you going to make a comment or had a question?
No.
Okay. Stephen, Batts, do you need to chime in before we do a motion?
Yeah, motion to approve.
Okay, thank you.
Jenny, this is David Miggett. I have a question.
Okay, David, go ahead.
As this is an amendment and a new contract, shouldn't it be broken up into 2 separate awards?
We discussed this with OGC ahead of time, and since it's the same contract with the state that we're piggybacking off of that we already have a contract with, we decided to just do this as the contract amendment to increase the amount that we needed through this month and then to utilize the rest of the contract. But Julie's on, I believe, if you want to chime in, Julie.
Yeah, I think as long as this is just an award write-up, so I think as long as it's clear that the committee is taking 2 actions under this award. It's both one, authorizing, ratification of these amounts and an amendment to the contract for the amounts that are under the current contract, and 2, authorizing a new contract. So I believe as long as that's clear, if you agree, David, that they're taking 2 different actions under this award item number. So, and essentially it is 2 separate awards. I agree with you.
Okay, thanks for the clarification.
So, and Jenny,
And just
you
a
could vote
note-
on each one separately because, I guess theoretically somebody could approve one and not the other. If that was, if you want to do that to make it clear.
Okay. I think the write-up is pretty clear, and if we don't have any issues through the committee, then I'd like to keep it as written. I'll just make a note that I don't believe it's a ratification yet. We haven't paid for the month of August in the services. Yeah, so that we don't have that marked as a ratification. Nathan, can you just confirm that?
Morning, everyone. This is Nathan Woyak. Yes, that is correct. It's not a ratification. The 192 is amounts pending for August.
Oh, okay.
Okay, great. All right, so I had Stephen Datz with a motion to approve. If we don't have any other questions or comments, I'll ask for a second.
Wayne Young, second.
Thanks, Wayne. I'll do a roll call through the entire committee. Stephen Datz.
Approved.
Wayne Young.
Approved.
Alan McElroy.
Approved.
Joe Arfano.
Approved.
And Steve Tootin.
Approved.
Thank you. All right, award number 5 is a contract increase. This is for Beverly Hills East Septic Tank Phase Out Project for engineering, design, and permitting. England, Timms, and Miller was the most qualified when we bid this out and brought it to the awards committee May 30th of 2019. And we brought it in the amount of $1,444,689.00. So this amount that we are awarding today is for the awardee, England, Timms, and Miller, is $197,416. And this is for our construction, engineering, and inspection services, so our CEI services, which were included in the original bid. You know, when we negotiated rates with these rates also up front, but we didn't bring it, and typically you'll see this, we won't bring it with the original award because the inspection services kind of happen after, and they're not, it's better pricing for us if we allow for the design to finish before we price this piece out. And that way we can get the best price because we have a final design. So typically you will see us bring these CEI services back even though we've included them in the original bid. So there's also a note on there that this is not related to our separate continuing services CEI contract. So this was originally bid out with this, and so this work will stay with this contract. But we do have other continuing services contracts with CEI for some JSEBs that can do work for us as well as needed. But this one was bid out, as I said, and included in this. So we are awarding it to England, Timms, and Miller. So I will ask if there are any comments or questions from the committee on this one.
Jenny, this is Stephen. I'd just like some clarification on a comment related to the background recommendation section. It states a second contract increase for CEI services of the main Beverly Hills East construction area will come before the awards committee once that design is completed. Should that be deleted at this point?
Dan, do you want to comment on that, or is Pete on the line?
Sure.
Okay.
This is Dan Kirk, the person for this. Stephen, no, that sentence is correct. This CEI services that is before the committee today is only for the off-site force main. So the Beverly Hills neighborhood needs a force main connected to it in order to be connected to JEA system, and it has to be built started before the neighborhood construction starts. So the neighborhood construction is still under design. So we don't have a CEI proposal for that yet because it's still under design. So once that design is completed, we'll have a CEI proposal for the Beverly Hills East, and that will come before the awards committee at that time.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Yes, thank you, Dan. That does clarify this. I appreciate that. Are there any other questions from the committee?
Jenny, this is Julie Davis, Office General Counsel. I just wanted to clarify one thing about the pricing is the hourly rates that were negotiated with the original contract. So to the extent that the pricing is not going to change, I believe why you're bringing this later is because you have a better understanding how much money you should set aside, to be encumbered under the contract. And you don't really know that earlier on, but you're not really getting better pricing in the sense that pricing is established in accordance with the CCNA at the beginning when you negotiate and award the original contract.
Yes, thank you, Julie. You're correct. What it does do is it allows us to have a better understanding. So when you're putting the hours in place that they need to service for the CEI, we have a better understanding and can reduce those where needed, where you might not know that, like Julie was saying, until we have some bit of the design done to make a better determination of what their work needs to be. But yes, those rates were negotiated after they were awarded the contract based off of the most qualified, because again, this was CCNA and engineering. So price is not a part of the evaluation when we're picking the vendor here. It's the most qualified per project. Are there any other questions on this one or comments?
Jenny, this is Alan McElroy. I make a motion to approve.
Thanks, Alan. Can I get a second?
Second.
Steve, thank you. I will do a roll call through the entire committee to approve award number 5. Alan McElroy.
Approved.
Steve Tootin.
Approved.
Joe Arfano.
Approved.
Stephen Datz.
Approved.
And Wayne Young.
Approved.
Thank you. So award number 6, this is the new force main replacement. So we bid this out, the construction services for it, as Dan was saying. So that CEI will work in conjunction with reviewing this work. I get their role is to review the work of the construction services for this off-site force main. There is also in this construction project a replacement of a water main. So they're going to replace an existing 2-foot galvanized water main with HDPE pipe, PVC pipe, lots of different sizes and stuff they're going to go through and make sure that water main is replaced and suitable for the neighborhood. TV Landmark won this one, and it was a straight bid. And we're expected for this project to be completed July of 2021. We had great competition here. We had about 7 bids, and the award amount came in about 6% lower than the budget estimate. And we looked at the different pricing, and it looks like the material costs were lower on this bid than what we had originally estimated, which is about where that 6% comes from. So I'll open it up to the committee for any questions or comments on award number 6. All right, seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve award number 6.
Joe Arfano, so moved.
Thanks,
Stephen
Joe.
Datz,
Can I get a second? Thanks, Stephen. I'll do a roll call through the committee to approve award number 6. Joe Arfano.
Approved.
Stephen Datz.
Approved.
Alan McElroy.
Approved.
Steve Tootin.
Approved.
And Wayne Young.
Approved.
All right, thank you guys. So we've got award number 7. This is a contract amendment. This is for Buckman's Class 3-4 pump station rehabilitation. So the original scope of engineering services for this project included design services and services during construction for the complete rehabilitation of the master pump station. The flow is pumped through a 24-inch diameter force main that discharges into the trunk sewer system flowing to the Buckman water treatment plant. The wastewater pumping station is over 40 years old, and much of the equipment and facility is reaching the end of its useful life and requires the replacement. so we bid this out originally in 2017, December of 2017, and brought it to the awards committee. And the amount of the award was about $423,437.46 to be exact. And we had to do a few amendments to this contract previous to us coming back for this one due to just needing some resiliency requirements, and then changes that JEA's O&M group wanted to complete after we were already at 90% design. And so we made those minor design change for resiliency back in May of 18, and that was about $26,000. And then JEA revised the design parameters to reduce the estimated construction costs and revised the resiliency standards in November of 18, and that was about $90,000. And then in October of 19, a redesign of the components due to the request of the O&M group to redesign the sump pump station to provide rails and to revise the manifold piping materials to accommodate a flow meter. So, and that was about $42,000. So as we, get to a certain point and you start changing design, just due to factors that come up that were unexpected, like the resiliency, after the hurricanes that needed to be done, and then just our O&M re-looking at things from a different lens if needed. Some of those things caused the amendments to happen. So this specific request is to award a contract amendment to change the scope of work to include just a few things that were found during construction that require redesign. So we bid this out on the construction side and have found a few things that need to be looked at, and we have a list of those things. So just a reduction in scope as a result of asset management task deletion, and this task will be performed by JEA, so we took that out and put it, brought it internal, but then the design of certain project elements that were required as the condition of certain pump station components due to more extensive corrosion than what we expected once we got in there, which was revealed during the construction. And we extended the schedule from the project from 12 months to 20 months, which requires additional coordination meetings and site visits from the engineer, and then additional shop drawings that were contemplated before the design was commenced, and then additional requests for information that the engineer would send out before, just part of their roles that we need to utilize them for. So that is all the things that we are adding to this contract. The award amount is $92,176.76. So I will open it up to the committee for questions or comments. All right, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve award number 7.
Steve Tootin, motion to approve.
Thanks,
Wayne
Steve.
Young,
Can I get a
second.
second? Thanks, Wayne. I'll do a roll call through the committee to approve award number 7. Steve Tootin,
Approved.
Wayne Young,
Approved.
Alan McElroy,
Approved.
Stephen Datz,
Approved.
and Joe Arfano.
Approved.
Thank you. All right, award number 8 is our last award, and this is a ratification for our SCADA field services for JEA. So the type of work here includes providing labor, materials, and services necessary to perform our SCADA, which is supervisory control and data acquisition services for JEA. So that includes radio path studies, telemetry inspections, SCADA systems, continued testing, supply radios, etc. And we bid this out informally in 2017. And the awardee was the Technical Field Services, Inc. And we allowed them to do a not-to-exceed contract of $300,000 based off of the pricing that was submitted, and it's just based off of our needs, based on unit pricing. And we did have an option to renew it, but we did not renew it, and we are going to bid these services out just due to low competition for the first time we bid this out in 2017. We think we can get more competition. And so we are bidding it out, but in the process of reviewing the spend for the upcoming solicitation, it was noted that we exceeded the not-to-exceed amount of $300,000 by $120,145.14. And what happened for this one was there was accidentally two separate blanket orders that were attached to. It was two separate blanket orders and a contract purchase order with the spend limits that were in place. And so those two things didn't connect in Oracle, and we realized that the spend was over our 300 amount and therefore needed to come to the awards committee, not only because we hit that threshold, but then also because it's a ratification because the money has been spent. And so what we're asking for the approval is for that overage of what procurement in-house cannot approve from an informal perspective. So it's exceeded our informal limits in the amount of $120,000 and some change. I'll just note that we've closed this contract out. Everything has been paid for. And so this is just to close this one out. We are bidding out the services. So we're going to have a new contract, and we aren't utilizing this contract anymore. So nothing else will be added to this. This will close this contract out and complete it while we go through the bid process we're currently going through. So I'll open it up for questions or comments.
Jenny, this is Alan McElroy. I was just kind of curious. I understand it's closed and everything, but are we doing a review of why we went over 30% higher than was originally expected?
Yes. So we determined that it was there were accidentally two different blanket purchase orders that were in the system that didn't connect. And so one, capped out at 300, so we stopped that and started to bid it out. But when we looked at the spend, we realized that there was another blanket order in the system that wasn't connected. Like, you've got to attach them in Oracle. So it was an error on procurement side, not connecting those two to realize that we had overspent. So now we're bringing it back for the ratification.
I got you. I understand. So it was right. It was just in two different buckets.
Correct.
So the scope didn't actually change then, right, Jenny?
It did not. It did not. It's just for unit price services that, take you to a certain amount. And once you hit that threshold, you either bid it out or you bring it to the committee for the renewal. So we're hoping we'll get more competition on this one by bidding it out, which is why we didn't extend and use that renewal option.
This is Alan again, Jenny. I'll make a motion that we approve.
Okay, thanks, Alan. Can I get a second?
Joe Arfano, second.
Thanks, Joe. I'll do a roll call through the committee to approve award number 8. Alan McElroy.
Approved.
Joe Arfano.
Approved.
Stephen Datz.
Approved.
Steve Tootin.
Approved.
And Wayne Young.
Approved.
All right, thank you. So we have now reviewed award items 1 through 3 and 5 through 8 individually, and they have all been approved by the awards committee. So the entire agenda for August 7th, 2020 is approved. And I will ask before we adjourn if there's any other business to come before the awards committee. All right. Seeing none, we're adjourned. Thank you guys. Have a great weekend. Be safe, and hopefully we'll get some sunshine this weekend as opposed to, some of the rain that we had over this week.
All right. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.